Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm Jay Eskar and today I'm going to show you how to make your claps sound better. Wider, bigger, fatter, just better. So step number one, before anything, before processing, before even putting the clap on the playlist is actually finding good sounds. Having good samples is the most important thing nowadays. If you're a producer and your sounds suck, it doesn't matter what melodies you're doing. It doesn't matter what rhythms you're doing. If the sounds are bad, the song is going to end up being bad. Like even a really bad clap can ruin a whole song or just a bad kick, right? So step number one is using the right samples. You might be asking, Jay, how can I know I'm using the right samples? Well, that's honestly not that hard to learn. What I would suggest you is listen to the genres that you're making and pay attention to what kind of sounds they're using. That way, you're going to basically study how they do it so you can implement it in your own music. That way, if you're making a song, you kind of have an idea of where you want to go. Okay, so yeah, basically just spend time studying other producers' music. That's it. That's the only way you can know how to have good samples. So yeah, after you find the right samples, in this case, I found this one, which is my main clap. Sounds like this. It's pretty tight and it's pretty good. It's great for future bounce or for future house. The kick and the clap would sound like this. It sounds good, but the clap is too thin and it's not wide and it's not fat. So here's where layering comes in. I tend to use around 3 claps, sometimes even 2, find the right layers. It always ends up being better for you, mainly because you're gonna have more control. Second reason why you want to use layers is because you're gonna make a more unique clap. If you're using a clap that sounds good by itself, that everyone else is using, you're going to be sounding like everyone else. So you want to make your own claps by layering. Easy. So yeah, here's where I put this other clap. And together they sound like this. Yeah, that sounds better. That sounds tighter. That sounds bigger. But after adding another layer, I still feel like I need more frequency. How do I do that? I literally just pay attention and I listen to the main clap. All right, this sound needs what? Mids. It needs more release. So now I added it and it sounds like this. Way better. After that, there's something very important that comes in. Finding the right layers is not where it ends though. There's a technique that is so useful, and that is pre-shifting claps. So the idea here is to, instead of having the clap hit as soon as the kick hits or just on the actual line, you would pre-shift it. So funny enough, if you click shift and just scroll, your claps can move or your samples can move. So the idea is to put it behind for a little milliseconds, and that will create some sort of effect that makes your clap sound tighter. So before any pre-shifting, let's actually do the pre-shifting while we play this. So let's play it. As you can see, as soon as I move it back a little bit, this clap sounds already way better. Without. As you can see, it brings claps to life. And this is where I go back to layering and I think, all right, the claps is sounding good enough, but I think I could layer something that is also pre-shifted. So in this case, I found another layer, another clap that obviously if you play it without any pre-shifting, it sounds like this, really bad. So the idea here is to also pre-shift this one, right? So I pre-shifted back as much as I think it's possible, it's needed. So this one gives you some sort of pre-pull to the claps, right? If I remove this pre-shifted clap, it sounds like this. So with the pre-shifted claps, the clap kind of pulls you in a way. I don't really know how to explain what this does, but you guys can feel what it does, right? So that's the idea. If you understand, that's great. So once we do that, we're basically done with choosing the right clap and arranging it or like putting it on the playlist. After that, here comes some little effects that you can add to the claps. So the technique number one to make them wider is by adding the has effect on one of the layers, or actually in a more simple way, it's just adding a stereo enhancer. Once you add each clap to their own mixer channel, what you want to do is add a stereo shaper to whatever layer you feel could be a little bit wider. In this case, the last one I've added, it's a little bit longer and it's a little bit more thinner, so I feel like it could be wider and it could help out the layer in general, right? So what I'm going to do is add a stereo shaper. So find a stereo shaper and add some delay to it, because that's basically what the has effect is. What you do is you add, whether you want to add it to the right or the left, it doesn't really matter. Just add delay that doesn't go beyond 25 milliseconds. In this case, you can see the milliseconds here. So move it. As I'm moving it, you can see it here. So I'm going to move it up to 18 maybe. Or just 12, 14, something like that. So if we listen to this solo, the clap soloed, it sounds like this. But once you add the stereo enhancer, it sounds like this. A little bit wider. So with, without, with, without. That way, you're gonna make your whole layer sound bigger just by making one of the sounds wider. You can use any type of stereo enhancer. You don't have to use this one. You can even use a delay. As you can see, this is actually a delay, and just delay one of the sites, and that's it. Next and last thing you can do to your claps to make them sound better, besides EQing, is distortion. In this case, I'm using tube distortion, and I'm using this one by Voxengo. You can honestly use whatever distortion you want, even fast distortion. You know, you have it here, and you can use this as well. The idea here is to add a subtle distortion, though, or it's just up to your taste. What distortion's gonna do to your clap is add more harmonics, so more frequencies. It's gonna sound fuller, it's gonna sound fatter, and after that, it's just up to you to keep experimenting. These are all the techniques that I use. So as a quick summary, this is what you do. Number one is finding the right sample. Remember, if your sample sounds ugly, you can't do anything about it. Second one is layering. All right, if your sound can sound better by adding more sounds, do it. Third one, pre-shifting your claps. That way you're gonna add more grooveness and it's gonna sound better. It's gonna sound bigger. After that, on the effect side, you can widen up one of the sounds by using the has effect. So delaying one of the sounds by no more than 25 milliseconds. And last but not least, by distorting, by adding some sort of saturation. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys find this tutorial useful. This was not only for beginners, as I'm pretty sure some of you will find something useful here. If you guys have any suggestions for future videos, let me know. I'll be doing a ton more. Trust me, I'm gonna be doing a ton more. So yeah, if you're not following me on Instagram, my Instagram is Jay Eskar, and all my other socials are also a Jay Eskar. So if you're trying to connect with me, that's where you can find me. So yeah, I'll see you guys in another video. If you want to join a Discord server, I actually have one where people have a lot of fun. People produce together, and they talk all day about music stuff. So if you want to join, it's gonna be in the description. By the way, if you haven't heard my latest release called Infinity, you should stop everything you're doing right now and go listen to it right now. So that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later on another video. Bye-bye.